Ed and Lorraine Warren are a
Yes,
theme. And I haven't done
yes.
a lot of research on them. I was made aware of them when The Conjuring came out. Supposedly they're a bunch of charlatans. Like a lot of their stories are made up. They hired people to make up these stories. I think like the husband is accused of being like a sexual predator. A lot of it seems to just be like they're religious nuts, and there's a lot of their lectures and stuff seem to all like go back to like, well, if you follow God and Jesus and like that'll be yours. It seems to me more about religion and things like that. And they just like supposedly like the Annabelle doll is just like a Raggedy Ann doll they put in a case and then they made up stories about it. And it's a lot of it sounds like a Twilight Zone episode where Talking Tina type story. Like when I watched the movie, that's what I saw. But then when I did a little bit of research when the movie actually came out, I did see online there were some links to that. People who like call them out did mention that because it made sense because that's the first thing that popped in my head was Talking Tina when I saw that stuff. For me, I don't believe in all that stuff to begin with. When I heard they were like bullshit artists, even if I didn't hear that, I wouldn't believe them anyway. And supposedly, like if you do see them in person, their stories aren't even that convincing. But if we're gonna deal with this, they are the Al Capone, what Al Capone is to gangster movies, or what Ed Gein is to slasher movies. The Warrens, I think, are to haunted house films.
Oh, yeah, that seems to be the case. And I was going to raise that issue too in the discussion of a specific movie later on. But yeah, I don't really know much about them personally. And that is one of the questions that I think you have to ask is, how much do we believe in them? How much do we believe their stories? And should that affect the movie? If we know that the story's kind of bullshit, does that affect our enjoyment of the movie, or can we just
So
accept it?
so obviously when we talk about the movies individually, that's when we can really get into that. But for me,
Yes.
it wouldn't affect my viewing of the movie on any level because, like, I mean, I don't have to believe in Superman. I don't have to believe a man can fly to like enjoy a Superman movie. For me, the only thing that it affects me with is when they're portrayed to be heroes.
Yeah.
When in real life we know they're scumbags. It's one thing for me to enjoy a slasher movie that's inspired by Ed Gein, but if they're trying to make the Ed Gein uh, surrogate out to be a hero, I mean, like, no, fuck this. Like, he's fucking, he should be the bad guy. The same thing with like the
Yeah.
Scarface type character. Like, if something's based on Al Capone, even if the character is charismatic, as long as they're not portrayed to be like a person of high character. I love the portrayal of the Scarface character that was inspired by Al Capone. I think he's incredibly charismatic, fun to watch. But two things. One is it's lightly inspired by. It's not like it's based on a true story like some of
Hmm.
these movies claim to be, which, horror movies, a lot of them tend to lean into based on a true story to drum
Yes.
up more scares. So it's not like these movies that portray Al Capone are trying to be true to life. They're just using gangster stories and some kind of inspiration frameworking of the stories. But also, you kind of, A, you like them ironically because you think they're idiots. And B, you're just into the story. You don't actually feel like, man, that real Al Capone is a real hero. You don't leave the movie saying, like, Al Capone is a great guy even if you think, man, that Scarface character, man, what a fucking awesome character, You don't think, man, I
Yeah.
idolize Al Capone now, man, that guy was really, I don't leave the movie thinking that. But I think with
Yeah.
the portrayal of the Warrens, like the idea is that you're supposed to leave these movies thinking, man, those guys were like real crusaders, like they did a great
Hmm.
job, they helped out these people. To me, that's the part that feels icky.
Well, like you said, we'll get into it more on the individual movies. But yeah, I agree. It's something to do with portraying them in a way that isn't even questioned in terms of are they for real or are they con people? Like the movie never even goes there, really. It just kind of presents them as if they are nothing but real, and above reproach, like Superman or something.
Yes, like
And
Superman.
Superman doesn't claim to be a true story, so that might be the difference. If they said this is true and this
Mhm.
really happened, you might
Yeah.
go, wait a minute, this isn't quite working for me. You know?
Yeah.